not going to support any one of them in India. And that is why the Supreme Pontiff, with deep compassion and love, he has opened up the doors of Adi Kailasa for all of us to go and protect ourselves. And there is one more article from the Business Line which also says on why home quarantine is impossible. And about 41% of the houses have just a single room which is shared by 5 persons. So they don't have any exclusive living room, and about 5 people share that accommodation. So 32% of households have 2 rooms. And this is why even the social distancing and the quarantine principles and rules cannot be followed. So self-isolation for COVID-19 is impossible for 40% of Indian families. 3 or more people were sharing a room. So home quarantine is completely not possible, and it is not going to help us. Even if we become COVID positive, it can never be a protective or preventive quarantine. So we have also the articles which says it is the home quarantine is near impossible, particularly in urban households. So this very clearly proves that where the Supreme Pontiff has very beautifully revealed, and when the first world countries have closed their borders during this massive global emergency, Kailasa has opened its doors to all of us without any exception. So this is a very beautiful opportunity where even Supreme Pontiff reveals that at least 6 months back, I became aware that this multi-layer quarantine is needed to protect people. So if you're in India and you want to protect your immediate family or extended family, anyone who will listen to you, get them immediately to our campuses. So these are the various free COVID care centers which are opened across India. Adi Kailasa in Bidadi, Bangalore, the Salem Adinam, Thiruvannamalai Adinam, Rajapalayam Adinam, Puduvai Adinam, the Pattanam Adinam, the Siragapadi Adinam, Sripuram Adinam, Hyderabad, Madurai Adinam, the Avati Palayam in Erode, Hosur Adinam, the Baroda Adinam in Gujarat. So you can see how Kailasa is literally rushing to help India on the verge of COVID-19 third wave. So multiple free COVID care centers which are opened across India. So various social services offered during this pandemic in all the ashrams. The spiritual services which are offered during this pandemic in Nithyananda ashrams, and the cosmic revelations on the global pandemic. So how about these various spiritual social services offered in Nithyananda ashrams? First is the medical care through allopathy and the holistic medicine, Ayurveda and Siddha medicine. Then the fire safety equipment maintenance, infrastructure to accommodate thousands of people, accommodation for multi-layered quarantine, emergency ambulances, ICU on wheels, by giving personal protective medical equipment, groceries which are literally collected for Annadan for how many ever people who will enter our campuses, and organic farming. So you can actually register for reaching out to the COVID Care Protection Center and join the COVID Care Protection Center by signing up to the link kailasa.org/Kailasa Care. You can actually go to this link and you can sign up to join any one of these COVID Care Protection Centers, which is actually offered by Kailasa. Yes. So now we'll be entering into the various glimpses from Kailasa's Department of Health on COVID protection for Adi Kailasa Sarvagna Peetham. So we have the various immunity boosters and COVID care supplements which have been procured, the allopathic immune boosters, the zinconia, the vitamin D and vitamin C. And through Ayurvedic medicine, immunity boosters are being actually provided to protect all the residents of the Adi Kailasa Sarvagna Peetham. So what are these immunity boosters which are actually offered? So steaming once a day with tulsi, eucalyptus, nochi and turmeric leaves. And all these herbal leaves are actually taken from the healing trees in Adi Kailasa and they are prepared. And twice a week consumption of the Kabasura Kudumi, a mixture of pepper, ginger and cloves and other ingredients. So extensively aimed for boosting the lungs, improving the respiratory system and treating infectious conditions like cough, cold and fever. We also actually give them the Nilavembu Kudineer to be taken once a week, the Agasthyar Legium for 5 days, the Thalisadi Vatakkam 3 to 4 tablets per day for 5 days, the Indu Ghanta Kashayam or Amruto Tatra Kashayam, both for 5 days, 1 teaspoon with 50 ml of warm water. We also actually give them the Sudarshana Gulika once every 5 days and gargling with salt and turmeric at least twice a day. Spirit and along with this, we also actually do the spiritual routine of Panchakriya, Haritaki, castor oil, neem juice, the Pratama Vinyasa Krama Yoga, Trinetra Kumbhaka and Puja. Yes. So what are the basic sanitation and safety practices which are being actually taken care of? Is disposal of soil pads, infected material and non-biodegradables done through incineration, the RO water systems for drinking water, cleansing and sanitization of overheaded tanks, regular de-weeding, maintenance and repair of electrical circuits, communication facilities for safety of residents, compost pit filling with biodegradables. So what are the various diagnosis, COVID care and quarantine methodologies? So immediately upon arrival to the campus, the occupants will be quarantined for 15 days and swab test, RT-PCR test to be done on the day 5 of quarantine, and all the food handlers to be wearing a mask and gloves and keeping distance. So disposal of waste food to be done with gloves and masks, disposal of gloves and masks by incineration. So in case of an emergency, protective kits ready at hand to take a COVID positive patient to hospital. So you can see these are the actually various symptoms. The most common symptoms of COVID-19 is fever, having cough, tiredness, loss of taste or smell. Less symptoms being the sore throat with headache, aches and pains, diarrhea, rash on the skin or discoloration on the fingers or toes, redness or irritation of the eyes. So what is the hand washing and infection control that's being done? So washing hands as often thoroughly with soap and water or with alcohol based hand sanitizer. Avoid sharing any items like dishes, drinking glasses, cups, eating utensils, towels, bedding or other items with other residents in the Adina. So mask protection. So wear a mask at all times when if exposed to vendors or outside people. Double layer cotton masks should be changed every day, so up to 24 hours, and it can be reused after washing with detergent and sun dry. So if it gets wet by saliva, secretions or sweat, so you can change it and wear a dry mask. So the wet mask can be stored in a steel plastic cover and washed with detergent and it can be reused later. So this is the N95 face mask that has been actually provided to the residents of Adi Kailasa Sarvagnapeetham and those who actually reach the COVID care protection centers. Next is the face shield will be provided as an extra protective wear for people at the gate interacting with the vendors or outsiders. So use of hand sanitizer, hand washing, regular steaming, taking of preventive kashayams, turmeric, salt, water, gargling, and bathing with washing of clothes with history of any exposure. So if symptoms appear like cough or fever or difficulty in breathing, so he or she should be immediately informing the medical person in charge immediately. So these are the various protective and preventive measures we are taking. And the next is the quarantine rules. The first line of quarantine. So people in the first circle who are directly in contact with the vendors. So area of stay confined to the outermost area where communication with the outside is happening with vendors. And stay in a well-ventilated single room, preferably with an attached separate toilet. So person should not come in contact with inmates of Adinam, especially the elder people, pregnant women, children, and person with comorbidities like with hypertension or diabetes, heart problem, and asthma. So restrict his or her movement within the area or room. This is the first line of quarantine. So how are the packages which are reaching the Adi Kailasa Sarvagnapeetham being delivered? So all parcels received at the gate will be sanitized, sprayed with the disinfectant. Next, all the deliveries will be contactless delivery, and wearing of face coverings and hand gloves are actually mandatory if the contactless delivery is not an option, or request the delivery to be left in a protected and isolated space. Then the outer packaging of the item will literally be disposed before it enters the Adinam, and packages will be quarantined before being delivered. So all the delivery bags, the boxes and containers will be thrown away after transferring the items to their respective places. So the surfaces of the package will be cleaned with a simple disinfectant and left to dry. So all hands handling the package will be thoroughly washed with soap and water or antibacterial solution frequently. And all mail and packaged products will be left outside for 24 hours before using them. So these are the various standard operating procedures which has been followed. And disinfecting with the sodium hypochlorite, the bleach or chlorine will be used, where 1 teaspoon of bleaching powder will be actually diluted in 3 cups, and alcohol at 70 to 90% will also be used for surface disinfection. So clothes will be washed separately with detergent and dried, and sharing of items is strictly prohibited, and this actually prevents the spread of the virus. So now coming to the warning signs. What are the various warning signs? So fever continues for more than 5 days. Fever returns in the second week, and after having been afebrile for a day or two. Fever more than 101 Fahrenheit after day 4. Resting heart rate is greater than 110 when there is no activity happening. If you have breathlessness or tightness in your chest. And the oxygen saturation is less than 94% on the pulse oximeter. And this will be also tested by a 6-minute walk test. So recording the saturation rate before and after walking briskly for 6 minutes. So if the saturation falls by more than 3%, it is not favorable, and less than 94%, it is not good. And if you have a relentless cough, continuous coughing. And you can see the in-campus ambulance, how it is being set up, and it is all ready for the COVID care, protection and prevention. And we also have the ambulance completely set up. So the second line of quarantine. So people who come in as newly will be given a separate room with toilet facility. So under no circumstances will they exit the room. So the designated quarantine person picks up the food after the person who serves the food is at a safe distance of 6 feet. Food will be placed outside the door. So monitoring the quarantine, like the temperature will be monitored, the pulse rate, the oxygen saturation levels will be monitored once a day, and more often if the person is asymptomatic. And more often if the person is symptomatic. So they'll be given the paracetamol. The temperature is more than 99 degree Fahrenheit, ensuring good hydration, having a nutritious diet, steam inhalation twice daily, salt and turmeric hot water gargling twice daily. So Ayurveda and Siddha medication will be given as per instructions. So doctor will be contacted if there is worsening of symptoms for specific management, which could be further consultation, investigations and treatment. So the residents will be asked to continue taking medications if they are on any blood pressure or sugar or heart ailments. And doctor will be consulted if the comorbid conditions pose a higher risk. So this is the second layer of line of quarantine, and the measures which are being followed. So the residents on medication will be asked to bring 2 months of supply till the Adinam is able to organize the medications for them. Residents will be asked to take long, deep breaths doing pranayama, lie in prone position on the tummy as much as possible so that the lungs expand well. So if there are no symptoms, the person will come out of quarantine after a total of 15 days. The test will not be repeated if it is clinically well. And if there are symptoms, the person will need to be retested, and a new medical opinion and necessary investigations and treatment will be done. So these are the common symptoms that we looked out for. So common symptoms, the fever, sore throat, fatigue, which is excess tiredness, cough, body aches, headache, loose stools or vomiting, loss of sense of smell, loss of sense of taste, exhaustion, giddiness and fainting. So previous mentioned symptoms will actually be provided with immediate evaluation and hospital care. So early detection of these warning signs and identifying the timeline is very crucial for better outcome. So these will be monitored very, very closely and is the most important thing that needs to be done. Yes. So identifying the day 1 symptoms is very crucial in management, with respect to monitoring and treatment protocols. So day one would be when the first symptom started. So investigate for the possible source of contact. So all the people who have come in close contact, 3 to 6 feet range, with the primary case in the last 3 days, they will be isolated separately and they'll be monitored for symptoms. So infectivity starts from 0 to 3 days before the onset of symptoms, and the infected person sheds the virus till 9 days. So if any of the above symptoms which was mentioned in various combinations signals the possibility of COVID. So even though the same symptoms can happen with any viral infection in a pandemic, it is to be considered as a possible diagnosis until otherwise it is proven. So rare presentations of this will be like rash on a body, bluish discoloration on fingers and toes, sudden onset of breathlessness, heart attack, strokes, paralysis of the limbs. So any kind of a suspicion will be actually immediately isolated. Yes. So next is coming on to the RT-PCR test. So it is to be asked for in symptomatic people immediately. So the contacts will monitor for symptoms and will get tested if any symptoms show up. So or else you need to wait for 5 days if they continue to be asymptomatic. So they can check their status thereafter. So a negative report ensures that they can move into the community. Yes. So these are the various instructions which are given for the leads who are taking care of the quarantine members. So only an assigned member will be tasked with taking care of the quarantined person. So using disposable gloves when cleaning the surfaces or handling any soiled linen of individual and washing of hands after removing the gloves. So no visitor will be allowed in the vicinity of the quarantined person. So in case the person being quarantined becomes symptomatic, all the close contacts taking care will be quarantined for 15 days and followed up for an additional 15 days or till the report of such a case turns out negative on the lab testing. Yes. So the next is about the environmental sanitization. So clean and disinfect frequently touched surfaces in the quarantined person's room. For example, the bed frames, the tables. And daily bleach solution. So clean and disinfect the toilet surfaces daily with regular household bleach solution, phenolic disinfectants. Clean the clothes and other linen used by persons separately using the common household detergent and dry. And the Adinavasis coming into the Adinam must take the following medical tests and the results will be sent to Dr. Masantana Lakshmi. So her email is actually projected. So whoever wants to immediately come to Adi Kailasa actually can send your reports of medical tests to this email ID, which is actually mentioned. And the results will be reviewed by the medical team at the Adi Kailasa Sarvagnapita female campus. Yes. So what are the various medical tests that you need to be taking before reaching Adi Kailasa? So the blood tests. So complete blood count with peripheral smear. So blood group type, fasting and postprandial sugar. So your renal function test, the blood urea and serum creatinine, VDRL test, HBsAg, HIV test, thyroid function test, ECG, liver function test, and lipid profile test. Apart from this, you need to get your RT-PCR test for COVID-19 taken 2 days before coming into the Adinam and send it to the previously mentioned email address and the address which is actually being projected on the screen. So the medical team will communicate to the admin of the respective Adinam with regards to the medical status and the approval status. So these are the various tests you need to take before reaching the Adi Kailasa. So once communicated, the person should come into the Adinam within 24 to 48 hours of the test. So if there are any pre-existing medical issues like hypertension, like diabetes, or any other chronic diseases or any comorbid situation, please bring in the recent reports and prescription from your attending doctor. So then a medical form will need to be filled in by all the new occupants. A legal disclaimer will also be required to be signed up. Yes. So all the people who will be quarantined, who are in quarantine, they will be completely monitored for temperature rise, for oxygen status and other symptoms when they are in during the period of quarantine. And anyone in the Adinam who are in quarantine with any of the symptoms will be reported immediately, and the designated quarantine person will be responsible to monitor the pulse and temperature every day. Yes. So, what happens during the quarantine? So, the equipment should be sanitized after every use, and knowledge for the same will be given to the medical team. The report of these recordings will be reviewed by the medical team every day. And during the quarantine period, certain Ayurvedic and Siddha preparations like steaming, saline, and turmeric water gargle, and all other immune booster will be given by the caregivers, which has to be followed very, very strictly. Yes. So now what happens after 15 days of quarantine to the people who reached Adi Kailasa? So after 15 days, they can be out of quarantine. So the basic guidelines of living in the Ajinam should be followed. That is, smoking, drinking, drugs, and substance abuse will be strictly prohibited. Consumption of non-vegetarian food is strictly prohibited. Illicit sex strictly prohibited. And the basic etiquette of wearing traditional Indian clothing, personal and environmental cleanliness and hygiene need to be followed. And the following measures will help in preventing the spread of infections in the Adinam, like a basic cold or flu, stomach bugs, and they'll protect the Adinavasis. So when you reach, you need to make sure the workplaces where you are in is clean and hygienic. So the desks, tables, telephones, keyboards need to be disinfectant. So promoting regular and thorough hand washing for Adinavasis. So you can have a sanitizing hand rub dispenser in prominent places in the workspace, and make sure these dispensers are regularly refilled. And display posters promoting hand washing. Washing kills the virus on your hands and prevents the spread of infection. So how the sanitation of the Adinam is maintained, again by promoting the good respiratory hygiene in workplace. Display posters promoting respiratory hygiene. Good respiratory hygiene prevents the spread of infection. So anyone with even a mild cough or a low-grade fever needs to be monitored by the health personnel with isolation, even if the symptoms are mild. So they should wear ordinary surgical face masks rather than N95 face masks. The medications like paracetamol or ibuprofen may mask symptoms of infection. So ensure and pre-order sufficient supplies and materials, including masks, tissues, hand sanitizers for all the people. So these are the various sanitization measures that will be taken inside the Adi. So in case of any emergency, how is it handled? So travel precautions. So travel outside an Adina must be discussed with the medical department. So no one will leave the premises without any approval. So what is the plan of action when actually someone who has reached the campus is infected with COVID-19? So the plan should cover that the ill person is in an area where they are isolated from everyone. So they will be quarantined completely. Local health authorities will be notified. The medical team will have a working relationship with a good hospital for any medical emergency. And the emergency contact numbers will be actually given, and where we can immediately shift people if there is any kind of emergency, and all the medical team members and the admins will have it with them for an immediate reference. So you can see for emergencies, the oxygen concentrators have been actually procured and they're ready in Adi Kailasa in case if there is any emergency and to manage them. So you can actually join now and avail this opportunity to protect yourself and keep yourself alive, as how Devi Parashakti revealed, by joining the COVID care protection centers by registering through this link, kailasa.org/Kailasa care. Yes. So the next segment is how the anti-Hindu militant terrorist forces, they are launching the bio war and seeds of terrorism on the Adi Kailasa ship, the last lamp for Hinduism. So as we all know, these anti-Hindu militant forces have a long history of executing a massive persecution and genocide against Nithyananda and his devotees. So this is about the marginalization of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and the ASMT community by the politically affiliated New Hindutva and the state-owned media. So on the 2nd of March 2010, Sun TV, the politically owned media house of the Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam, the DMK, which was the ruling party of the state of Tamil Nadu in 2010, they made a sensational and repeated screening of a fabricated video purporting to show that the Supreme Pontiff with a well-known Indian film actress. The video was later proven to be false. So a judge ordered the television station to run an apology for it every 2 hours for 7 days, and Hansraj Saxena, the CEO of Sun TV, confessed on the public television as well as gave a sworn affidavit to a US court detailing the history and modus operandi of the blackmail and extortion and was jailed for the same. So, however, the state owned and controlled television channels within a few hours ensured that the television telecast was stopped. So the ASMT has captured the video recording of this telecast and has this as an evidence of the same, and this did not remedy the damage. So what happened? So following that hate propaganda started by the DMK affiliated Sun TV, the politically owned neo-Hindutva media amplified the misinformation and hatred, spreading it to the entire country with titles like Hang the Sin Swamis. So this resulted in marginalization of the Supreme Pontiff and the ASMT community, that they were neither able to receive fair trials from the judiciary nor sympathy or empathy of the society. So on the 26th of March 2010, the State Police of Karnataka, CID, unlawfully they sent letters to the banks holding the accounts of the public charitable trusts of the temple monastery of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, illegally ordering them to freeze all the bank accounts of these trusts. So no debit transaction was allowed, making the main source of food and basic amenities for the residents of the Adinam a huge struggle. And there was literally no food in the monastery. See, all the residents were pushed to a crisis. They were forced to survive by drinking rainwater, which collected underground, and living by sorting good grains out of the rotten ones. So when they appealed to the court to seek relief, the judge made a mocking statement in the open court: if there is no food, eat air. So several residents and full-time volunteers fled the monastery due to starvation, and several social welfare and spiritual services of the monastery had to be discontinued. Then, on the 11th of June 2010, while hearing for the bail of the Supreme Pontiff, Bhagavan Sri Nithyananda Paramashivam, the High Court of Karnataka described this in its order to the CRI 2328/2010, observed the undue media influence against the Supreme Pontiff, Bhagavan Sri Nithyananda Paramashivam. So, if you see, it is actually mentioned in this point. So, however, it says it is not a matter for the court to discuss, since the issue was subsidized by the media by telecasting the incident, and a question mark is created amongst the public as regard to the image of sannyasi or Swamiji. So if you see, followed by this is the state-sponsored terrorism against the Hindu gurus and Hindus. So on the 3rd of March 2010, the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, Karunanidhi, he made a public statement inciting hatred towards the Supreme Pontiff and the ASMT community, and this was published in several newspapers and cited by the several media channels. So you can see this is the transcript where the Chief Minister stereotyped and vilified Swamis, labeling them as cheats, imposters, brainwashers, destroyers of the life of people, swindlers of money, despicable Swamis, hoodwinkers who are disguising in the name of devotion, pushing the illiterate into a deep pit. So all these words were told by the Chief Minister, and he declared the stand of his government on the Hindu monks. My government cannot tolerate the despicable Swamis' hoodwinking acts. So he describes the practicing Hindus who followed Swamis as people who are deeply buried in ignorance, who cannot still understand these, or even if understood, do not want to change. He also continues to say those fickle-minded people who have fallen prey to these Swamis and destroying the society. So this is the transcript of exactly what the Chief Minister had told. And he explained his stand on the practicing Hindus who followed gurus like the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. This government won't be a mute spectator of those fickle-minded people who have fallen prey to the Swamis and are destroying the society. So the chief minister pleaded to the citizens, so those who really want these preachers to be eradicated should stand by and support the actions my government is taking. So in a similar interview, the chief minister, he gave an interview in Trichy on the March 3rd, where in context of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, he said, of late, immortality has been rampant in temples and monasteries. So on the 12th of April 2010, the parent organization of the Dravida Kazhagam, he hosted a press meeting where the leader of the anti-Hindu atheist K. Veeramani, he said, the central and state governments should clearly take a criminal action against them, and the crores of property they have earned through crooked means should be taken over by the government. So this is how the state-sponsored terrorism was done against the gurus, the Hindu gurus, Supreme Pontiff, and the ascetic community. So the fabricated video of the Supreme Pontiff, it became a political justification for the state government to implement and execute the anti-Hindu laws and executive orders that destroyed all the Hindu temples in Tamil Nadu over the next decade. So earlier, on the 5th March 2010, Veeramani had given an interview where he said in context of the Supreme Pontiff and other Hindu gurus, if you probe them, they will ultimately end their life in jail, almost national criminals. So continued, following the statement of the Chief Minister the very next day on the 4th March 2010, the State Police of Tamil Nadu filed a fabricated accusation on the SPH, charging him under the section IPC 376 without mentioning anybody as a victim of rape. So the Supreme Pontiff continued to be hounded by the police of three states, the neo-Hindutva media, and the state intelligence for months. So within days, more than 50 ASMT temples and monasteries in different cities were attacked simultaneously and rapidly, some set on fire and shut down by the atheist militants who were aiding the state police. So if you see the unabated decade-old genocide on the Supreme Pontiff comprised of over 70 assassination attempts, over 250 sexual assaults on the Supreme Pontiff and the ascetic monks and disciples, lawfare of 120 false cases over 10 years, and the massive hate propaganda in the electronic media for over more than 14,000 hours. And the print media of over 25,000 articles in 5 years, destruction of heritage properties worth over 27 million US dollars, and the continuing ethnocide and genocide of over 80 million Hindus worldwide since 7 centuries. So this is how the terroristic activity has been done. And now, 11 years later, on the 2nd March 2021, the anti-Hindu militant terrorist forces are launching a bio-war, seeds of terrorism on the Adi Kailasa ship, which is the last lamp of Hinduism. So they have deployed bio-war agents on the AK ship, which is the last hope for India to survive this COVID-19. So what is the history of this bio-warfare targeting the Supreme Pontiff and his community? So on the 7th of June 2012, the Supreme Pontiff held a press meet in a large hall in Bengaluru Monastery to reveal a clinching evidence about the falsity of the fabricated charges of rape foisted on him. During the press meet, the Swarna television barged in with its chief editor Ajit and armed militants. In an attempt to assassinate the Supreme Pontiff, Ajit forced an anthrax letter bomb on him. So seeing this danger, the assistants of the Supreme Pontiff took him through a different door and exited the hall, and they were able to save him. So finally, the disciples seized the package and handed over it to the secretaries of Supreme Pontiff, and the secretary went to his office with the package. Though the disciples managed to protect the Supreme Pontiff, his assistant literally became a victim of the collateral damage of this bio. So no sooner did the secretary open the cover and the letter bomb exploded on him, a white dust containing spores of unknown variants of anthrax pathogens. It literally all over him. And at that time, not able to understand what it was and feeling dizzy, the secretary drank some water and fainted, while Ajit and his quenchmen quietly left the campus. The secretary survived, but the anthrax had a severe negative impact on his health for almost a decade and still continues to impact his health adversely. Yes. So, what are these seeds of terror, a bioweapon? So, this is a recent international phenomenon where anonymous seed packages are being sent to various people all around. So, people who are watching this segment would be knowing this, that all around the world, especially in the US, in the UK, and all the three other countries. So, on the 31st of July 2020, the Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service of the US Department of Agriculture, in a statement, it had said that the main concern is that these seeds can introduce damaging pests or diseases that could harm the US agriculture. And India is also on the target list. So on the July 31st, 2020, the senior Indian government officials, they said China has advanced scientific capabilities to do such an attack on India's soil too. So the conspiracy was revealed in detail a year prior on the 4th of August 2020. Yes. So now the next important question is, why is Adi Kailasa targeted? So though the Supreme Pontiff was forcibly driven out, exiled, and as a captain of the ship and his home, Bharat, years before in 2018 itself, he left behind the ship Adi Kailasa Sarvagnapitam, the enlightenment ecosystem, which is the last hope for India to survive this COVID-19 crisis. The anti-Hindu forces have now made the ship Adi Kailasa Sarvagnapitam enlightenment ecosystem as one of the primary targets of this bio-warfare. So anti-Hindu forces, they targeted the Adi Kailasa because Supreme Pontiff, through his relentless work through Adi Kailasa, is protecting the humanity in India. Precisely. So what these demonic forces who want to depopulate the planet and capture the resources exclusively for themselves do not want. So if you see, Adi Kailasa is a temple monastery complex. An enlightenment ecosystem, it is like a Noah Ark or the Manu boat, a ship to save humanity. It was created by the Supreme Pontiff with utmost care and compassion to save humanity from the ongoing COVID. And Supreme Pontiff, but literally he was driven out of the ship and his home years before. Yet, the attempts to exterminate him and his mission of establishing the love, the justice, and compassion of Sanatana Hindu Dharma, it still continues. So 11 years after the deadly ethnocide on the Supreme Pontiff and Hinduism, on the very same day, 2nd of March 2021, yet another deadly war is launched, and this time being a bio war. What is that? So the Department of Customs, India, sent a letter in May 2021 about the pickup of seeds package. So literally unaware of the sinister conspiracy, the Adinam authorities wrote to the Customs Department that they were not aware of and had not ordered any such package. So this is the letter which has been projected. The Department of Customs of India sent a letter in May 21 about the pickup of the seeds package. So unaware of this sinister conspiracy, the Adinam authorities, they wrote to the Customs Department that they were not aware of and had not ordered any such package. And you can see the registered letter which is being projected, how the authorities had responded to the customs. And this is the track of the consignment order by the Indian Post. So if you see, literally the militant groups have been sending unsolicited plant seed packets which have been arrived from unknown locations as bio-war weapons. So what are the impacts of this bioterrorism which has been actually done to AK ship? So depopulation and genocide, hunger and food insecurity, devastating economic loss, and inducing widespread illness. So if you go back and see the news articles on these unsolicited seeds, so you can see like the USDA investigates packages of unsolicited seeds, and the news desk also says mystery mailings of seeds continue worldwide, and over 750 Canadians received unsolicited seeds in the mail. Yes. So June 2015, India has ratified the Biological and Toxin Weapons Convention and pledged to abide by its obligations. So despite this, the package was pushed onto the monastery of the officials in violation of the Biological and Toxin Weapons Convention. So what is the main motive behind such deadly genocide attempts on the Supreme Pontiff? Literally to create a large-scale disruption to the humanitarian services that is spearheaded by Supreme Pontiff through Kailasa to combat the COVID-19. So by launching the bio war, unknown diseases, which no medical or agricultural authority can handle, are inflicted in the community. So despite this, the package was pushed onto the monastery, and you can see the various articles, the key provisions of the convention, where Article 1, it states, undertaking never under any circumstances to develop, produce, stockpile, acquire or retain biological weapons. The Article 3 that states, undertaking not to transfer or in any way assist, encourage or induce anyone to manufacture or otherwise acquire biological weapons. So to put an end to this persecution, we humbly pray for the universal, absolute and non-degradable prohibition of torture and ill treatment against the Supreme Pontiff, the Kailasians and the Hindu diaspora worldwide. So all of you who literally want to protect yourself, just rush to Adi Kailasa and save yourselves, as what Devi Parashakti and the Supreme Pontiff has told. Let us be alive. And this year, the only profit is being alive. So you can join the COVID care protection centers by registering through the link below, kailasa.org/Kailasa care. Yes. So with that, we are coming to the conclusion of this session, and anyone who wants to actually literally have the multi-layer quarantine, save your life, protect yourself, and literally this next 6 months where the whole globe and the humanity is going to face the COVID-19 third wave, before that, to protect yourself and have the most beautiful opportunity to enjoy the ambience and the presence of Parashakti and Paramashiva in the divine campus of Adi Kailasa Sabagnapeetham, avail this opportunity and join any one of our COVID care protection centers by registering through the link kailasa.org/Kailasa care. So with that, we come to the conclusion of this session, and we'll be joining back after a short break. Thank you. Nithyananda.
Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham.
There are some great spiritual sciences unique to Hinduism. Subtle, otherworldly, but definitive sign. Manifest the cosmic beings in Archavatara, deities in Nijavatara, living incarnations is possible. Understand? Kriya Pada of Vedas and Agamas elaborately explain explain the whole science of making the cosmic beings manifest in Archavatara deities and Nijavatara living incarnations, both. During the Bhava Samadhi Darshan, literally those cosmic beings manifest through this body. Just like how they manifest in Archavatara deity, they manifest in Nijavatara, Pratyakshavatara, and give you all the boons you ask, bless you. You see, each God is an independent intelligence to lead you to enlightenment. Each God is a bridge for you to achieve the Shivatva, the ultimate Shiva consciousness. Krishna is the bridge for you to achieve the Krishna consciousness. But Shiva consciousness, Krishna consciousness, all consciousness is one and the same. Ultimate consciousness only. So that energy itself completely expresses.
Just like Radhika, when I see my own sweetness in the mirror, I become eager to taste it. I find that the only way to relish this sweetness is through the constitution of Sri Radhika.
Bhava Samadhi Darshan is a window to the infinite expanse of consciousness, allowing us to glimpse the formless in a way that we can understand. It cleanses the karmas of lifetimes. It awakens our biomemory to the space of Paramashiva, the ultimate consciousness, and creates a deep and lasting transformation in us.
We get you health. We get you ability to build beautiful relationships in your life. We get you direct spiritual support, and we make sure you become wealthy. We won't stop giving you just good life. We will literally not stop till you live enlightened life. Manifesting the state of Paramashiva, space of Paramashiva, powers of Paramashiva, being of Paramashiva. Whole world should become Kailasians.
I want the whole world to know Hindus have something great to contribute to the world. We have something great to contribute to the world. Let us do that.
Kailasa is proper customized spiritual service helping you to identify your root patterns of suffering. We have perfected the science of helping every individual from every cultural, religious, nationality background. You will have lowest reactionary assumptions, highest awakened response, alive response for life continuously. Kailasa is enlightenment ecosystem, literally enlightenment itself in your own home, wherever you are. Proper customized spiritual service helping you to complete with your life negativity, withdrawal from life, self-hatred, self-denial, self-doubt, so much of tiredness, laziness. We can support you aligning your diet, your attitude, your aptitude, your understanding about life. We can help you with everything. If you are interested in enlightenment, we will immediately bring this to you. If you are not interested, we will explain the whole science, inspire you and make you interested in enlightenment science. We need to cater this enlightenment science to the whole world wherever they are, because enlightenment is the birthright of all human beings. Kailasa is responsible to provide that to all human beings. Kailasa is the totality of the knowledge I received from my gurus and practice manifested in my life, perfected by teaching millions of people from all cultures, time zones, backgrounds, genders, nationality, race, from every creed. So this absolutely perfected knowledge available to you, served to you in your home without even you moving out of your couch, free of cost. We get you health. We get you ability to build beautiful relationships in your life. We get you direct spiritual support and we make sure you become wealthy. We won't stop giving you just good life. We will literally not stop till you live enlightened life. Manifesting the state of Paramashiva, space of Paramashiva, powers of Paramashiva, being of Paramashiva. Whole world should become Kailasians.
I want the whole world to know Hindus have something great to contribute to the world. We have something great to contribute to the world. Let us do that.
Kailasa is proper customized spiritual service helping you to identify your root patterns of suffering. We have perfected the science of helping every individual from every cultural, religious, nationality background. You will have lowest reactionary assumptions, highest awakened response, alive response for life continuously.
Nithyanandam, everyone. Nithyanandam, everyone. So welcome back. So today, the next segment is going to be the beautiful Akashic reading revelation by Devi Parashakti. So all of us will be watching the Devi Parashakti Darshan and Akashic readings. So with that, we come to the conclusion of this segment, and let us all prepare ourselves and get ready for the action. Thank you. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamataya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat. Sarvam Bhagavat Shri Nithyananda Paramashiva Padukarpanamastu. Om Nithyanandam. Nithyanandam.
Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham.
Connecting with the divine with your eyes closed is meditation. Connecting with the divine with your eyes open is darshan. Come, let us all now move from meditation to darshan. Slowly, very slowly, please open your eyes. श्रीचक्रराजसिंहासनेश्वरी श्रील
மாதுளம் பூ நிறத்தாளை புவியடங்க காத்தாளை அங்கையர் பாசாங்குசமும் கரும்பு வில்லும் அங்கை சேர்த்தாளை முக்கண்ணியை தொழுவார்க்கும் ஒரு தீங்கும் இல்லையே தேவி கருமாரி அம்மனை தொழுவார்க்கும் ஒரு தீங்கும் இல்லையே செல்லாத்தா செல்ல மாரியாத்தா செல்லாத்தா செல்ல மாரியாத்தா எங்கள் சிந்தையில் வந்து அரை வினாடி இல்லாத்தா கண்ணாத்தா பொன்ன காணாட்டா கண்ணாத்தா பொன்ன காணாட்டா இந்த ஜென்மம் எடுத்து என்ன பயன் என்று சொல்லடி நீயாத்தா அம்மா சொல்லடி நீயாத்தா தாயே சொல்லடி நீயாத்தா செல்லாத்தா மாரியாத்தா எங்கள் சிந்தையில் வந்து அரை வினாடி நில்லாத்தா. ஆசை தீர உன் அழகை பார்த்து மாரியாத்தா அந்த பாசத்தோடு வந்தே நடி தாய மாரியாத்தா. ஆசை தீர உன் அழகை பார்த்து மாரியாத்தா அந்த பாசத்தோடு வந்தே நடி தாய மாரியாத்தா. பொன்னு பொருளும் தந்தருள்வாய் கருமாரியாத்தா பொன்னு பொருளும் தந்தருள்வாய் கருமாரியாத்தா. என்னை புகழோடு வைத்திடுவாய் ஆதி சக்தி மாதா என்னை புகழோடு வைத்திடுவாய் ஆதி சக்தி மாதா. அம்மா அம்மா தென்னை மரத்தோப்பினிலே தேங்காய பறிச்சுக்கிட்டு தென்னை மரத்தோப்பினிலே தேங்காய பறிச்சுக்கிட்டு தேடி வந்த முந்தனையே சின்னாத்தா நாங்க தேடி வந்த முந்தனையே சின்னாத்தா. நீ இளநீரை எடுத்துக்கிட்டு எங்க குறை கேட்டுக்கிட்டு இளநீரை எடுத்துக்கிட்டு எங்க குறை கேட்டுக்கிட்டு வளமான வாழ்வு கொடு மாரியாத்தா நல்ல வழிதனையே காட்டி விடு மாரியாத்தா. இந்த பெருமையை இந்த உலகுக்கு எடுத்து பாடாட்டா இந்த ஜென்மம் எடுத்து என்ன பயன் என்று சொல்லடி நீயாத்தா. ஆயிரம் கண்ணுடையவளே செல்லாத்தா மக்களை ஆதரிக்க வேண்டும்படி செல்லாத்தா. ஆயிரம் கண்ணுடையவளே செல்லாத்தா மக்களை ஆதரிக்க வேண்டும்படி செல்லாத்தா. திரிசூலமுடன் வீட்டிற்கும் செல்லாத்தா திரிசூலமுடன் வீட்டிற்கும் செல்லாத்தா. பாமாலை உனக்கு பாடிடுவேன் செல்லாத்தா பாமாலை உனக்கு பாடிடுவேன் செல்லாத்தா. பசும்பால கறந்துக்கிட்டு கறந்த பாலை எடுத்துக்கிட்டு பசும்பால கறந்துக்கிட்டு கறந்த பாலை எடுத்துக்கிட்டு புற்றினிலே ஊற்ற வந்தோம் மாரியாத்தா நாங்க பக்தியுடன் ஊற்ற வந்தோம் மாரியாத்தா. நீ பாம்பாக மாறி அம்மா தாயே கருமாரி அருள் புரிவாயே சுகுமாரி. 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 பாம்பாக மாறி அதை பாங்காக குடித்துவிட்டு தானாக ஆடிவா நீ மாரியாத்தா நீ தானாக ஆடிவா நீ மாரியாத்தா. உந்தன் பெருமையை இந்த உலகுக்கு எடுத்து பாடாட்டா இந்த ஜென்மம் எடுத்து என்ன பயன் என்று சொல்லடி நீயாத்தா. செல்லாத்தா செல்ல மாரியாத்தா எங்கள் சிந்தையில் வந்து அரை வினாடி நில்லாத்தா. கண்ணாத்தா உன்னை காணாத்தா கண்ணாத்தா உன்னை காணாத்தா இந்த ஜென்மம் எடுத்து என்ன பயன் என்று சொல்லடி நீயாத்தா. ஆதிசக்தி மாதா கருமாரி மாதா எங்கள் 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 ஆதிசக்தி மாதா கருமாரி மாதா.
மலையனூரிலே புற்று உருவிலே மயானம் காப்பாள் அங்காளி. மலையனூரிலே புற்ற உருவிலே மயானம் காப்பாளங்காளி மீனவர் செய்யும் பூசையில் மகிழ்வாள் கவாலக்காரி செங்காளி மீனவர் செய்யும் பூசையில் மகிழ்வாள் கவாலக்காரி செங்காளி
ஓங்காரத்து மூலம் பாங்கான பரமசிவ பரம்பொருள் பங்காயமர்ந்து பங்காளும் அங்காளி பரமேஸ்வரி பரஷோடசி பரமசக்தி ஞான யோக காரண காரிய மூல நாதாந்த வேதாந்த சித்தாந்த காரண மூல பரமேஸ்வரி பரஷோடசி வாலை சக்தி பரஷோடசி மீனாட்சி பரமசக்தி கண்மலர்ந்தேன் ககனம் அனைத்திற்கும் நன்மை செய்திட உலகெல்லாம் இருக்கும் சகல ஜீவராசிகளுக்கும் சத்தியம் சொல்லிட ஞானம் தந்திட வரமெலாம் அளித்திட வாழ்வெலாம் தந்திட சங்கரி பரமசக்தி பரஷோடசி மீனாட்சி நித்யானந்தன் நிஜரூபம் கொண்டு நிஜாவதாரமாய் வந்துதித்தேன். சித்தர்களும் யோகிகளும் ஞானிகளும் தேவர்களும் கிண்ணர கிம்புருட கந்தர்வ காந்தார யக்ஷ ராட்சச பிரேத பிசாச மனுஷ்ய ஸ்தாவர ஜங்கம சகல ஜீவன்களுக்கும் ஆதி மூலமான ஹிரண்ய கர்ப்பஸ்வரூபிணி பிரம்மாண்டயோனி அண்டாண்டங்களை எனக்குள் ஆக்கி என் வடிவாய் நிறுத்தி உலகிற்கு நன்மை தந்திட வந்தேன் வளமருள. ஓம் 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 ஓம். கேளுங்கள் மானுடர்களே, சத்தியம் சொல்லுகின்றேன். சங்கடம் தீர்த்து வைப்பேன், நன்மையெல்லாம் அளிப்பேன், ஆனந்தம் அளித்திடுவேன். வேதங்கள் நான்கொடு ஆகமத்தின் சரியை கிரியை யோகம் ஞானமெனும் பாதங்கள் நான்காய் மலர்ந்திட்ட பரமசக்தி ஆக்கல் காத்தல் அழித்தல் மறைத்தல் அருளல் எனும் ஐந்தொழிலும் மாற்றும் ஆனந்த ஸ்வரூபிணி பரமசிவன் பாகத்தமர்ந்திருக்கும் பரமசக்தி. சித்தர்களுக்கெல்லாம் ஞான சித்தியும் சக்தியும் அளிக்கும் பரம ஔஷதஸ்வரூபிணி பராசக்தி மீனாட்சி அம்பா சாம்பவி சந்திரமௌலி ஆனந்தஸ்வரூபிணி தசமகாவித்யாய் மலர்ந்து நவதுர்கையாய் நிறைந்து அஷ்டசக்திகளாயிருந்து சப்த மாதர்களாய் வாழ்ந்து 6 கார்த்திகை பெண்களாய் திகழ்ந்து பஞ்ச சக்திகளாய் நிறைந்து உலகனைத்திற்கும் உத்தம வேதங்கள் 4 தந்து இச்சை கிரியை ஞானமெனும் 3 சக்திகளாய் மலர்ந்து பரம பிரகிருதி பரம புருஷன் எனும் 2ஆயிருந்து 2ம் கடந்த பரமசிவ பரம்பொருளாயிருந்து 1ம் 2ம் தாண்டிய என்றும் இருப்பும் இல்லை என்பதும் தாண்டிய நினைப்பும் மறப்பும் கடந்த உருவும் அருவும் கடந்த பரமசிவனாராய் மலர்ந்தருளும் பரமசக்தி வந்துதித்தேன் இங்கு வரமெலாம் தந்து நிலமெலாம் அருளி கருமார்த்த காம மோக்ஷமெனும் 4 வகை புருஷார்த்தமும் தந்து சாலோக்கியம் சாமீபியம் சாரூபியம் சாயுஜ்யம் எனும் முக்தி நிலைகள் 4ம் தந்து நல்லவை எல்லாம் தந்து நல் அருளும் தந்து பூரண புண்ணியம் தந்து யோகமொடு ஞானமும் தந்து நன்மையெல்லாம் தந்திடவே இங்கு நாம் வந்து உதித்தோம். ஓம் 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 ஓம்.
கொண்ட வளர்ந்த குணசேரி புலசை நகரிலே முத்தாரம்மனாய் அதிசயம் செய்வாள் அருமாறி. புலசை நகரிலே முத்தாரம்மனாய் அதிசயம் செய்வாள் அருமாறி. வீரப்பன் புனைந்து கண்மலர் அணிந்து காட்சியும் தருவாள் கருநீரி. வீரப்பன் புனைந்து கண்மலர் அணிந்து காட்சியும் தருவாள் கருநீரி.
உத்தமர்களே, சத்தியத்தை வாழ்வாய் வாழ்ந்திட நித்திய ஞான அறிவியல் சொல்கின்றேன், நிறைந்து கேளுங்கள். நன்மைகள் பெருகி யாக யஞங்கள் பெருகி பிராமணர்கள் தங்களுக்குள் இருக்கும் சத்வகுணம் பொங்கி சத்துவத்தால் ஏற்படும் தத்துவ ஞான விளக்கம் பெற்று உலகிற்கு நன்மை செய்யும் பூஜை புனஸ்காரங்கள் யாக யஞங்கள் கிரியைகள் யோகங்கள் செய்து அதனால் தாங்களும் நன்மை பெற்று உலகிற்கும் நன்மை செய்யும் பொது சக்தி பொங்கிப் பெருகுவதே சத்யயுகம். அது முழுமையாய் மாறி ராட்சச கும்பல் தன் சுயநலத்திற்காக கொத்து கொத்தாய் மக்களை கொன்று குவித்து மடியும் மக்களைப் பற்றி கவலைப்படாது ஏற்படும் உயிர் இழப்பு, உயிர்கள் மடிவதும் மனங்கள் நொடிவதும் கண்டும் அதைப் பற்றி கவலைப்படாது கொண்ட அரக்க குணத்தாலே நாடுகள் தேசங்கள் நகரங்களை ஆட்சி செய்து தன் அதிகாரம் புகழ் ஒன்றிற்காகவே மக்கள் உயிர் பற்றி கவலை கொள்ளாது அடுத்தவர் பற்றி அரை வினாடியும் சிந்திக்காது வாழ்ந்திடும் கொடூர அரக்கர்கள் தங்களுக்குள் இருக்கும் கொடூரமான தமோகுணம் உயிர் பெற்று அதனால் உலகையே அடக்கி ஆளும் காலம் கலி. நன்றாய் கேளுங்கள் மக்களே. பெருகி பொங்கி பிரளயம் இங்கு உலகெல்லாம் இருக்கும் ராட்சசர்களின் உயிர்களில் இருக்கும் தமோகுணத்தை உயிர்ப்பித்து விட்டது. பிரபஞ்ச ஊழி முடிந்தது எனினும் ராட்சசர்கள் உயிருக்குள் இருக்கும் தமோகுணம் உயிர் பெற்று விட்டதனால் அதிகார வர்க்கத்திற்கும் மனிதர்கள் தம் நிலை மாறி நேர்மை மாறி அதிகாரத்திற்கவே நடத்துவதையும் நடப்பதை கண்டுங்காணாது வாழ்வதையும் மக்களே நேர்கொண்டு பார்ப்பீர்கள். கலி வந்துவிட்டதென்பதை நேர்கொண்டு பார்ப்பீர்கள். பிராமணத் தன்மையோடு இருந்து நேர்மையும் நீதியும் சொல்ல வேண்டிய நீதிமன்றங்களும் உண்மையை உலகிற்குச் சொல்ல வேண்டிய ஊடகங்களும் தன்மை மாறி நேர்மை குலைந்து நிலைதடு மாறி கலியில் வீழ்வதைக் காண்பீர்கள். சத்திரிய தன்மையோடு மக்களை காக்க வேண்டிய அதிகார வர்க்கமும் அதிகாரிகளும் காவல்துறையும் அரசியல்வாதிகளும் தன்னிலை தாழ்ந்து நேர்மை மறந்து கணக்கில் மக்கள் மடிந்து போவதையும் மனம் நொடிந்து போவதையும் கண்டுங்காணாது அது நிகழ்வதற்கு நேர்முகமாய் மறைமுகமாய் துணையும் செய்து உலகையும் அழித்து தாங்களும் அழிவதையும் காண்பீர்கள். வைஷ்ய தர்மம் காக்க வேண்டிய பெரும் பணக்காரர்கள் பிணந்தின்னி கழுகுகளாய் மாறி பெரும் மக்கள் பிணமாய் ஆனாலும் தன் சொத்தும் பணமுமே சுகம் என்று நினைத்து உலகிற்கு பெருந்துரோகம் இழைப்பதையும் காண்பீர்கள். சாமானியன் ஏழை பொதுமக்கள் நடுத்தர வர்க்கத்தினர் எல்லோரும் மற்றும் கேட்டுக்கொள்ளுங்கள், உங்களுக்கு நீங்கள்தான் பாதுகாப்பு. உற்ற அன்பினாலும் தோழமையினாலும் உங்களுக்கு நீங்களே உதவிக் கொள்ளுங்கள். இந்த கொரோனா பெருந்தொற்று வராமல் உங்களை நீங்களே காத்துக் கொள்ளுங்கள். உங்களுக்கு நீங்களே உதவி செய்து கொள்ளுங்கள். வேறு யாரேனும் உங்களை காப்பார்கள் என்று நீங்கள் நினைத்தால் அது முட்டாள்தனம். உங்கள் வாழ்க்கைக்கு நீங்களே பொறுப்பு. ஓம் ஓம் ஓம். ஓம். பொங்கி வரும் நேர்மையோடு, பொதுநல அன்போடு, உயிர்ப்பித்து உண்மையாய் உங்களுக்கும் உங்களைச் சுற்றியிருப்போருக்கும் உதவுங்கள். உங்கள் மூலமெல்லாம் பரமசக்தி நானே வெளிப்பட்டு நன்மை செய்வேன். நன்றாய் கேளுங்கள், நல்லதைச் சொல்லுகின்றேன். பொங்கிப் பெருகும் அன்பால் உங்கள் இதயம் பலமடையும், உள்ளம் நிறைவடையும். செய்கின்ற நல் சேவையால் உடல் உறுதியடையும், உயிர் மலர்ச்சியடையும். நன்றாய் தெரிந்து கொள்ளுங்கள். உறுதியான உள்ளமும் உடலும் உயிருமே இந்த ஊழிப் பிரபஞ்சத்தில் ஏற்பட்டிருக்கும் ஊழிப் பெரும் பிரளயத்திலிருந்து உங்களை காக்கும் ஒரே வழி. பணமும் புகழும் பதவியும் அதிகாரமும் காக்கும் வழி அல்ல. காக்கவும் செய்யாது உயிரோடு உடல் ஒன்றாய் வைத்து சேர்க்கவும் செய்யாது. சித்தர்கள் ஞானிகள் சிவகணங்களுக்கெல்லாம் சக்திகளும் ஔஷதமும் தந்திடும் அன்னை மீனாட்சி அருளுகின்றேன், கேட்டுக்கொள்ளுங்கள். நல்லதொரு ஞான வாழ்வும் அன்பும் ஆனந்தமும் உறுதியோடு ஞானத்தால் உயிர் பெற்ற யோக வாழ்வுமே உங்களை காக்கும். இந்த பேரூழி காலத்தில் அன்னை பராசக்தி அருளிய வேத ஆகம சரியை வாழ்க்கை முறையே காவல். ஓம் ஓம் ஓம்.
பூவாடக்காரி பொன்னழகி உனக்கு பொங்கலிட கிடைச்சது பாக்கிய எனக்கு. மீன்கார வீடெங்கும் மீன் வாசம் இருக்கும். அடி மீனாட்சி நீ வந்தா நெய் வாசம் அடிக்கும். ஆத்தாடி மாரியம்மா சோறு ஆக்கி வச்சேன் வாடியம்மா. ஆளாக்கி அரிசிய பாழாக்க வேண்டாம் தின்னு புட்டு போடியம்மா. ஆத்தாடி மாரியம்மா சோறு ஆக்கி வச்சேன் வாடியம்மா. ஆளாக்கி அரிசிய பாழாக்க வேண்டாம் தின்னு புட்டு போடியம்மா.
ஓம் ஓம் ஓம். மக்கள் கோடிகளில் மடிவது மட்டுமின்றி பொருளாதாரம் மனநலம் குன்றி மனம் நொடிவதையும் பார்ப்பீர்கள். இந்த கொடுமையிலிருந்தெல்லாம் விடுதலை ஜீவன் முக்த தன்மையோடு சிறப்போடு வாழ்வும் வாழ்வே. முதலில் கொரோனா கொடுந்தொற்றிலிருந்து வருமுன் காத்துக் கொள்ளுங்கள் மக்களே. உயிர் காத்துக் கொள்வதையே முதல் வேலையாய்ச் செய்யுங்கள். வந்த வேலை சொந்த வேலை ஜீவன் முக்த வாழ்வு. அதை அடையும் வரை உடல் அழியாது காத்துக் கொள்ளுங்கள். உடல் வளர்த்தலே இப்போது உயிர் வளர்த்தல். உடல் வளர்த்து உயிர் வளர்த்து உயிர் காத்துக் கொள்ளும் பணியை முதலில் செய்யுங்கள். ஓம் ஓம் ஓம்.
पुष्पबाणचापाम् मणिमादिभिरावृताम् मयूखैरहमित्येव विभावदे भवानी. ध्यायेत् पद्मासनस्थान्.
பாட்டெடுத்தேன் தாளமிட்டேன் ஓடி வரல்லே. ஆடி பார்த்து புட்டேன் புள்ள முகம் தேடி வரல்லே. பாட்டெடுத்தேன் தாளமிட்டேன் ஓடி வரல்லே. ஆடி பார்த்து புட்டேன் புள்ள முகம் தேடி வரல்லே. பேச்சுப்படி பொங்கல் உண்ண இங்கு வரல்லே. நான் மூச்சடக்கி உன்னிடத்தில் அங்கு வருவேன். பேச்சுப்படி பொங்கல் உண்ண இங்கு வரல்லே. நான் மூச்சடக்கி உன்னிடத்தில் அங்கு வருவேன். ஆத்தாடி மாரியம்மா சோறு ஆக்கி வச்சேன் வாடியம்மா. ஆளாக்கு அரிசிய பாழாக்க வேண்டாம் சின்ன புட்டு போடியம்மா.
லக்ஷ்மீம் க்ஷீரசமுத்திரராஜதனஜாம் ஸ்ரீரங்கதாமேஸ்வரீம் दासीभूत समस्त देव वनिताम् लोकैक दीपाङ्कुराम् श्रीमन्मन्दकटाक्षलब्ध विभव ब्रह्मेन्द्र गङ्गाधराम् त्वाम् त्रैलोक्य कुटुम्बिनीम् सरसिजाम् वन्दे मुकुन्द प्रियाम्.
சீக்கிரத்தில் காட்சி தந்த செல்வநாயகி புது சேலக்காரி பூக்காரி தெய்வநாயகி. சீக்கிரத்தில் காட்சி தந்த செல்வநாயகி புது சேலக்காரி பூக்காரி தெய்வநாயகி. பத்திரகாளி ருத்ரகாளி பாரடியம்மா இந்த பாவி மகன் வீட்டிலே போய் ஓரடியம்மா. பத்திரகாளி ருத்ரகாளி பாரடியம்மா இந்த பாவி மகன் வீட்டிலே போய் ஓரடியம்மா. காத்தாடி மாரியம்மா சோறு ஆக்கி வச்ச மாடியம்மா. ஆளாக்கு அரிசிய பாழாக்க வேண்டாம் தின்னு புட்டு போடியம்மா.
ஓம் ஓம் ஓம். நன்றாய் கேளுங்கள் மக்களே. பொங்கிப் பெருகி வரும் இந்த பேரூழி பிரளயத்தும் அதனால் ஆடி தனக்கும் மற்றோர்க்கும் அழிவைத் தேடித் தரும் அரக்க ராட்சச மக்களிடமிருந்தும் உங்களை காத்துக்கொள்ள ஒரே வழி, செல்லுங்கள் ஆதி கையிலைக்கு. பரமசிவனார்வதத்தில் அடைக்கலம் புகுந்து கொரோனா தொற்றில் இருந்தும் காத்துக் கொள்ளுங்கள். அதனால் ஏற்படும் உயிர் மடிவிலிருந்தும் பொருளாதாரச் சரிவிலிருந்தும் உறவுகள் அழிவிலிருந்தும் மன நொடிவிலிருந்தும் உங்களை காத்துக்கொண்டு ஜீவன் முக்தி நோக்கி பரமசிவ பரம்பொருள் நோக்கி யோகமும் தவமும் செய்து பரமசிவனார் பக்தர்க்கெல்லாம் சேவை செய்து நல்ல வாழ்க்கை வாழுங்கள். அதற்காகவே ஆதி கைலாசத்தின் கதவுகள் திறந்து வைத்தோம். அண்டம் உள்ளோர் அனைவர்க்கும், மனிதர்கள் மட்டுமல்ல, சித்தர்கள், ஞானிகள், யோகிகளெல்லாம் கூட வந்து ஆதி கையிலையில் அமர்ந்து தவம் செய்து கொண்டிருப்பதனால் வரும் எல்லோர்க்கும் நன்மையும் வளமும் ஞானமும் யோகமும் பொங்கும். அச்சம் வேண்டாம், ஆனந்தம் உண்டு. கவலை வேண்டாம், காப்பேன் நன்மை. ஓம் 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 ஓம். சுகம் அது உண்டு, ஞானமும் உண்டு. அச்சம் வேண்டாம், ஆனந்தம் உண்டு. சங்கடம் தீர்க்கின்றேன், சமயத்தில் வந்துதவும் சமயபுரத்து கண்ணார்த்தாள் நான். ஓம். மனிதர்களே, நன்றாய் கேளுங்கள். கொத்து கொத்தாய் கும்பல் கும்பலாய் கோடிகளில் மக்கள் மடிவதைக் கண்டும் காணாது அரசு செய்வோர் இருப்பதனால் அவர்கள் எல்லோருக்குள்ளும் இருக்கும் அரக்க குணங்கள் விழித்து மக்கள் மாண்டாலும் மடிந்தாலும் தன் பதவியும் அதிகாரமும் போதும் என்கின்ற கொடூர சுயநல தமோகுணம் உயிர்த்தெழுந்து அதிகாரத்திற்காய் எத்துணை உயிர் வேண்டுமானாலும் அழிவதை கண்டுங்காணாதிருந்து மறைமுகமாய் அது நடக்க காரணமாகவும் மாறிப்போயிருக்கின்றார்கள். நன்றாய் புரிந்து கொள்ளுங்கள். பாமர மக்களே, ஏழை எளிய மக்களே, நடுத்தர மக்களே, சாமானிய வர்க்கத்தவர்களே, நமக்கு நாமே காவல். நம் எல்லோருக்குள்ளும் பொங்கி எழும் அன்பினால், நல்லதன்மையினால், சத்வகுணத்தினால் ஒருவருக்கொருவர் உதவிகள் செய்து கொண்டு
எல்லை காடி வந்தது நிற்பாய், பரம்பல தருவாய், பிரிந்த சடையும் எரித்திடும் வெள்ளியும் குவிந்த உதடும் கூறிய பற்களும் வெறுத்திடும் நோக்கும் விழித்தொங்கு நாக்கும் வெடித்திடும் மூக்கும் விரிந்திடும் போக்கும். காளி மாகாளி காளி மாகாளி காளி மாகாளி மாகாளி காளி மாகாளி காளி மாகாளி காளி மாகாளி மாகாளி வருத்ததனமும்.
ஓம். நன்றாய் கேளுங்கள் மக்களே. அன்னை நானே முழுமையாய் மலர்ந்தருளினேன். கவலை இல்லை, கோபமும் இல்லை, அச்சமும் இல்லை, ஆசையும் இல்லை, அருளும் ஆனந்தமும் கருணையும் மட்டுமே கொண்டு உங்கள் எல்லோர்க்கும் நன்மை தந்திட, நன்மை செய்திட பரமசக்தி பரஷோடசி மீனாட்சி மலர்ந்தருளினேன். இங்கு கண்டுகொண்டிருக்கும் எல்லோரிடத்தும் அன்னை ஆனந்தமயமான திருநீற்றும் குங்குமமுமாய் சந்தனமும் ஞானாஞ்சனமுமாய் இப்பொழுது பொங்கி மலர்ந்து அருள் செய்கின்றேன், பெற்றுக்கொள்ளுங்கள். ஆனந்தம் அனைவருக்கும் உண்டு. கேட்ட வரங்களெல்லாம் முறையாய் தந்து கேடில்லா ஞான புகழும் தந்து யோகமும் சுகமும் சக்தியும் அருளுகின்றேன். ஓம் 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 ஓம்.
நாய்கள் வேறு சுடலைதானே உன் திருவாசம். ஏகமுனியே அநேகமுனியே ஆதியுனியே சோதியுனியே. காளி மாகாளி காளி மாகாளி காளி மாகாளி மாகாளி காளி மாகாளி காளி மாகாளி காளி மாகாளி மாகாளி. மோகமுனியே காமமுனியே போகமுனியே யோகமுனியே மந்திரமுனியே ரமணியே எந்திரமுனியே ஞானமுனியே. காளி மாகாளி காளி மாகாளி காளி மாகாளி மாகாளி காளி மாகாளி காளி மாகாளி காளி மாகாளி மாகாளி. சக்தியுனியே யுக்தியுனியே பக்தியுனியே முக்தியுனியே. நொடிகளுனியே மௌனமுனியே ஒடுக்கமும் நீயே இயக்கமும் நீயே காளி மா காளி காளி மா காளி காளி மா காளி மா காளி காளி மா காளி காளி மா காளி காளி மா காளி மா காளி உள்ளும் நீயே.
ஓம் வந்திருக்கும் எல்லோருக்கும் இன்று கேட்ட வரத்தை கேட்டபடியே தந்தேன். ததாஸ்து 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 ததாஸ்து. தர்மார்த்த காம மோக்ஷமெனும் புருஷார்த்தங்களோடு நன்மையெல்லாம் தந்தேன். ஓம் ஓம் ஓம். பஞ்ச கிருத்தியங்கள் புரியும் பரமசக்தி எல்லோருக்கும் நன்மை தந்தேன். ஓம் 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 ஓம். ஆனந்தம். ஓம் ஓம் ஓம்.
Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham.
Let's start with the Sadguru Vandanam. Nithyanandam Paramasukhanam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gaganasadusham Tattvamasyaadilakshmyam Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadi Sakshibhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Namami. Let's go through the disclaimers. Security measures. No photography, video, audio recording. Important cautions. Please be aware of the important cautions. What is power manifestation? Let's hear from Bhagwan himself explaining what is power manifestation.
all the 25 states of consciousness, when they happen in you, due to your chemicals and hormones, ups and downs, it is powerlessness. When it happens in you, out of your free will and consciousness, it is powerfulness. That's all. When you fall into sleep, it is powerlessness. When you enter into sleep, it is powerfulness. When you fall into dream, it is powerlessness. When you decide to dream, it is powerfulness. So I have added the ultimate powerfulness, Turyatita, in your whole being and doing. Manifest all the powers. Understand, power manifestation is nothing but cognitive shift. It is not work. It is cognitive shift. Understand? It is just cognitive shift. It's not work. Work is a 4-letter word. Power manifestation is cognitive shift. Playing with life. Playing with being alive. Static matter, dynamic activity, strategic existence. All these three has no boundary. You are one with it. You are alive in everything. Everything listens to you. Everything decides as you want. Power manifestation is cognitive shift, raising your frequency, not work.
Science of power manifestation is authentic, time-tested, scientific, and foolproof. It is science because it is repeatable by each one of us, and any one of us can manifest at any time. That's why it is called science. And science is given by the evidences from the scripturals and all other evidences, the scriptural references, Shastra Pramana, the eternal unchangeable truth revealed in the source scriptures, Vedas and Agamas, Apta Pramana, the experience of the Aptas, the Rishis, Munis, Ganas, Nainamas, Alvar, Siddhas, all of them manifesting all the powers of Paramashiva, which is authentic, time-tested, scientific and foolproof. The Atma Pramana, account of His Divine Holiness, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, this millennium's avatar's personal experience of power manifestation, Bhagavan's very own Leela, and mapping to Atma Pramana, and as per the Shastra Pramana, Bhagavan has manifested all the powers. Shakshi Pramana, the experience like all of us, the millions of disciples, devotees, followers all around the world, manifesting the powers of Paramashiva. Like all of us, whoever comes to the Kailash courtyard, Bhagavan beautifully says that he will manifest through them as superconscious being. Pratyaksha Pramana, measuring the effect of being in the enlightened state. Clearly it shows all these powers are from the space of thoughtlessness, completely in the enlightened zone. Let's go to the Shastra Pramana. The Shastra Pramana are the Veda Agamas, which is revealed in the source scriptures. Vijnana Bhairava Tantra, Sutra 82, Dharana 57.
Ayane stitva niradharam vibhavayan swadeham manaksikshine Kshanadakshinashayo bhaved Asane shayane stitva niradharam vibhavayan Swadeham manasikshine Kshanadakshinashayo bhaved.
The scriptural reference for the power of levitating an object within a transparent container of water. Beautifully, Bhagavan Paramashiva says, being situated on a comfortable seat on the bed, firmly cognize that your own body is without any support or a base from anywhere. It is resting on the nothing. By holding this cognition, when the mind becomes worn away and thoughtlessness arises, then in an instant one can become weightless and experience the space beyond the mind, the space of Paramashiva. Beautifully, Bhagavan says how we can experience this very thoughtlessness and how we can experience the powerful space where we become weightless and experience the oneness with Paramashiva. Bhagavan beautifully says all over the world they are finding out the weight of everything. And they even have found out the weight of the sun rays, and they have collected for a square mile and said it's equal to a hair weight. And they are weighing everything according to science. Everything has weight, and they are simply surprised what happens to our body when something is lost from our body. That is when we are dead. What should happen? We should weigh less. But unfortunately, the science is confused because we started weighing more. Immediately, you can say if the body is left for some time, there's a chemical reaction. Because of that, the weight of the body is more. But Bhagavan beautifully describes the weight of the body is more immediately after the body is dead. And we say the body, whenever we refer to the dead body, the consciousness which is there, the person who's there has left. The consciousness, the presence, Bhagavan says, is the weightlessness. If Bhagavan says, when you have a pain at any point of your body, and if you bring the presence there and see what is there, the presence disappears the matter. You become literally the frequency whenever the presence is available. So the matter is not there. The weight of the pain is not there. Wherever you dig in, where the pain is occurring from, and simply we recognize there is no such thing as pain because it is not available. As long as there is no awareness, the pain exists. The minute you bring the awareness in that part, simply the pain disappears. All these great signs that Bhagavan has beautifully given us, that these balasans, many of the balasans, including having a multiple fracture, they have gone to the hospital with no crying and completely gone through the surgery with no pain at all. They do not realize there is something called pain because whenever the pain happens, they are asked to look in where the pain is. When they bring the presence to that point, the pain disappears. So they do not experience pain. And this is clinically seen in the balasans many a times. Same way, the weightlessness is the presence, how much you are alive in your body, the awareness, and not getting deluded in your thoughts, but sometimes we are in complete awareness. Bhagavan beautifully says the Zen masters give a ultimate solution to bring a thoughtless space. Suddenly they just push off the cliff or give a beating so that the disciple just go into the no thought zone for a few seconds. And that few seconds they can download into the higher consciousness, dip into the higher consciousness. Bhagavan beautifully says how when you are in the present, completely the body and the mind disappears and merges and you are in the ultimate bliss. Each time we go into that simple awareness and simple space where nothing other than this exists. When we sleep, the body is not there and the mind is not there. And the deep sleep or in the dream, the body is not there. We don't know whether we are a girl or boy. We don't know whether what language we know, which country we are, where we are sleeping. Sometimes we wake up and even ask the question, where am I? And to that extent, the deep sleep that we forget everything. And the same mind which puts us into all the parlous space also puts us into these states. When we understand that outside is also what we perceive is a dream, constantly understanding that what we perceive is not the reality as we see it. How we experience the dream, Bhagavan beautifully says, if you wake up from the dream right now, even though you're waking up from your dream every day, seeing the same father, same mother, same sister, same spouse, but this is also a dream and you need to wake up from this dream also to the higher consciousness, the Paramashiva space, deep earning, deep oneness and pure love, pure in oneness with Paramashiva, that space you start manifesting powers. Let's go to Apta Pramana. Apta Pramana are the Rishis, Munis, Ganas, Nanamas, Alvars, Siddhas manifesting all the powers of Paramashiva. Each of these great powers that we can experience as the Munis, Ganas, Nayanamars, Alvars, Siddhas. Trilanga Swami was there just few decades back, and he was even seen by Ramakrishna how he manifested extraordinary powers, and he was a huge person, not a small person. And Trilanga Swami was a yogi, mystic, famed from his spiritual powers, who lived in Varanasi, India in 16th and 17th century. Thousands of people have reportedly seen him levitating, sitting position on the surface of the river Ganga for many days at a time. And even sometimes he would just go into the water and disappear and appear again as normal and come out without any problem. And that is what he says. As a yogi, they are a master of all the 5 elements. The fire does not burn them, and the water does not drown them. Trilanga Swami even has samadhi in 3 different places because he appears in multiple places by himself as the space of oneness with Paramashiva. Let's go to the Atma Pramana, where Bhagavan beautifully explains how our lust pattern pulls us down into incompletion, and when we understand the higher reality, we can manifest such extraordinary powers. The pure space of Bhakti, Jnana, Vairagya Bhakti, that is what Gopikas had. Understanding from the powerful cognition and flowering into Bhakti, you simply become enlightened. Bhagavan beautifully explains.
Psychological, emotional, physiological, physical sufferings that child goes through with the world, with the society, due to the irresponsibility of the generation earlier. The irresponsibility of the generation which is supposed to be responsible. This is the real child abuse. Listen. If a child is given the false idea, sex and sexual pleasure is the ultimate possibility and the pleasure of life, and the child rushes due to its hormonal gush with this wrong theology, all the suffering the child faces, struggle the child faces, physically, mentally, psychologically, emotionally, in relationship wise, all that is the real sexual abuse and child abuse. A child should be made to understand till the age of 21, till you become emotionally, psychologically, mentally, consciously capable of handling you, your body, and others' body and others' minds. You, your body, your mind, others' body and their mind, everyone involved directly, indirectly in this whole act, and who are going to bear the brunt of the side effects of this act. Listen carefully. Sex is not something between 2 persons, because the side effect and after effects, whether it's a child or your depression, guilt, pain, heartbreaking, anything, of course, if it is successful, no problem. But that word success, neither the definition is clear nor in reality it is seen. So let us be practical. It is going to impact too many people around you, and even you are going to feel your body and mind and your emotional strength is not capable of handling its effects, side effects and after effects. So educating a child to be responsible for the mind, body and its effects on you and others is real education. That is, Hinduism is very clear. In Hindu schools, till the age of 21, absolute celibacy, because celibacy is the foundation on which your body can flourish, flower beautifully. Your mind can flourish and flower beautifully. Never a child should be allowed to taste or tasted the sexual pleasure till the child becomes 21. Till 21, neither the child should be tasting nor somebody can taste the child. Second, the solution is having your own Ishta Devata and growing up with Ishta Devata. That's the most matured, best way of growing up. That is the most matured and best way of growing up.
So beautiful that Bhagavan says how you can have a matured way of existence when you have the Ishta Devata and you have the lust flowering into bhakti. That is the most beautiful space. How Gopikas are in beautiful space because they have Jnana Vairagya Bhakti. What does that mean? You understand that who you have, bhakti, the love, is God, and having the deep reverence and gratitude and the right context, the earning for such a beautiful space to experience as bhakti makes you yourself become God. That is called Jnana Vairagya Bhakti that Gopikas experienced with Krishna. And that is what Bhagavan is explaining, how we should be taught as Ishta Devata, as the ultimate space of oneness, talking, chatting, and living completely in oneness with Paramashiva. Now let's see the Shakshi Pramana, how they have experienced the oneness space and lifted the object in the transparent glass. And all of us can experience that beautiful space when we are in oneness with Paramashiva. Let's go to the guidelines. Yes, you can have the camera with the timestamp app and Jnananjan in your Kantamala. Jnananjan, if you have inside the Kantamala already, you can apply in your third eye and your temples. If you do not have, that's perfectly fine. Bring your awareness to your third eye. If you have a cup of glass of water, transparent, you can drop a coin or you can have a small stick. You can float the stick on the water or you can make the stick go up and down. Just before the Kumbh Mela, Bhagavan gave this experiment to all the Balasans and all of them experienced such a oneness space. They were able to move the stick up and down the water. A stick which floats goes inside and moves up. Same way you can do with a coin also. And if you do not have any cup or any coin and you have only a tab, please switch off the tabs and keep the object on the tab and you can see it move across the tab. The tab is a silicon with the earth energy, or the cup of water is a liquid, which is again the breath dimension that you can experience the oneness. Now make sure there is no other chemical added to the water to make it float or sink. There is nothing from outside which is tampering the data, only through the power of third eye, and do not touch during the process. Only through the power of third eye in oneness we are going to manifest these powers. And Bhagavan has clearly said how we can all experience the oneness space of Paramashiva and manifest these powers, the completion that happens in us. As Bhagavan says these words, if the completion happens in us, it manifests as powers. Each word has power. If somebody says some word which we don't like, we get upset, we get angry, we get scared. Just 1 minute glimpse of those insects or snakes or something, even on the screen, we get paranoid, or of the height or the stage, or so many things is so much disturbing us. Same way, just one word from Paramashiva can put us into enlightened space. That is the most beautiful completion space that we can experience. For us to get ready with such a beautiful space is complete completion. And having the Shaktipada, just now we beautifully listened to Bhagavan and all his powerful cognition. Bring that powerful cognition and the power manifestation of having the Shaktipada, Devi Darshan. We have had Kalabhairava Darshan, Venkateshwara Darshan. All the darshan that Bhagavan has beautifully given us. Bring those darshan to your third eye. Sit with your head, neck and spine in a straight line and bring your awareness to your third eye. The more you bring your awareness to your third eye, your body becomes simply light and fall into the oneness space and becomes weightless. The same thing you can experience with the cup and the water and the object in the water to make it float or make it sink, however you want to do it. And continuously chant the Mahavakya. The power of mantra. Mantra does not have meaning or sound or it does not have sound or verbalization or visualization. It has a meaning for everything. But the whole science of the mantra is the pure form of sound. When you chant these Mahavakya just from the Om or Om Namah Shivaya or Shivaya Namah Om, anything or the Mahavakya that Bhagavan has initiated us, all these Mahavakyas raises our frequency into the oneness space and simply melts our inner being to again and again surrender to Bhagavan's lotus feet and make ourselves as conscious beings. Again and again, the identity simply loses from us. We become the ultimate oneness with Paramashiva. And the identity, for us to lose the identity, the only space, easiest way is to have the Shaktipada and chant the Mahavakya and continuously hold the higher cognition. That is the beautiful space of Shaktipada to manifest as powers. So let's entangle with Bhagavan, beautiful space of oneness, and experience the Shaktipada and chant the Mahavakya, seeing the object move on the water so beautifully. Let's sit straight, bring Paramashiva Parashakti into your third eye and start chanting the Mahavakya.
Let Paramashiva's third eye manifest in all our third eyes. Let the Amrita pour, let the Varni open up, manifest in all of us.
Paramashivoham, 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 Paramashivoham.
Let Paramashiva overflow, manifest the powers in all our third eyes. Om Nithyananda Paramashivam. Om Nithyananda Paramashivam. Om Nithyananda Paramashivam. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. 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 Om Nithyananda Paramashivam. Om Nithyananda Paramashivam. Om Nithyananda Paramashivam. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Let Paramashiva's third eye manifest in all our third eyes. Let the Amrita pour, let the Varni open up. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Let Paramashiva's third eye manifest in all our third eyes. Let the Amrita pour, let the Varni open up, manifest in all of us. Let Paramashiva overflow, manifest the powers in all our third eyes. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. 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 Paramashivoham.